Catching back up another camp report here with the head coach of Ole Miss soccer, Matt Mott. Last week, Coach, we talked about how your team came in. They were fully prepared to go with a bunch of uncertainty ahead. Now you have a schedule. The SEC has announced there's a plan to get going here in the next couple of weeks. Did you see an uptick in your team's performance at practice, knowing now they have a certain date that they're aiming for?
Yeah, certainly. I think they're really excited now. It was great. Keith Carter and Lynette Johnson came out to practice to kind of announce it, kick it off with us. Our girls were super happy. They did the hottie toddy cheer with Keith, and Keith said that was the first one of the year, so that was exciting. And typically we are kicking off the sports season, and it looks like we're going to do that again this year. So certainly the girls, there's a change in our mentality a little bit to now, okay, we need to focus on. We know we're going to play 8 SEC games in the regular season, and then we're going to all go to the beach, which will be a really exciting tournament. So there's some trophies to play for. And so certainly our focus is changing now to preparing for games.
Yeah, the good news is the schedule's happening. The bad news, if you want to call it that, is it's an all-SEC schedule. Talk about a challenge for your group.
Yeah, live bullets, right? We're going against live right away. Typically you've got 8 or 10 games to build into that, but now it's going to be live, and they're all going to matter right away, and we're going to play against whoever it is to start off with. Is going to be a really good team, and then the next week's going to be another really good team. So our league's stacked. Phil, it's certainly one of the toughest leagues in the country. It's exciting to play in it, but typically you get some exhibition games and you get a whole slate of non-conference games to prepare you. And now it's not going to be that. We're gonna roll right into it. But everybody's doing that, right? The scouting is going to be very difficult because nobody's played anybody. But getting ready to play is something to be excited about, and our team will be ready.
Speaking of the challenges, we talked with Stack last week about now taking on that balance of practice and the academic side of things. And have you seen any challenges with that this year with the players? They're not up and about going to class the way they used to be. They're sitting in front of a screen all day. She said that's a little bit of an emotional drain, an energy drain for her, sitting in class at a computer as opposed to being actually in a class more often than she was the past couple of years. Have you noticed that challenge, or the players talked about that sort of challenge here this season?
Not at this point. I think luckily we're early on in class and them getting adjusted to it. And I think the returners all were adjusted to a little bit from last spring at the end of the semester. It's one of those things I tell people a lot, like, you can be having a bad day, but when you go out to practice and you get around the team, they lift you up, they fill you full of energy. And I think that happens for everybody. So I do think that's the release when they can get out there and get running around and playing and kicking each other and all those kind of things to get playing the game that they love. And it's the same thing for us as coaches. Like, we go out there and there's just a shot of energy, and it's like, okay, let's go. We're doing what we all love.
We're talking to a couple more players this week. Ashley Workus, Sydney Michalak. Last year, Ashley lived up to the hype in goal for your group. I think people sleep on the fact this is really year 3 for her with the program.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next step that she's going to take here in 2020?
Yeah, she has become an elite level goalkeeper without question. I think, obviously I'm biased. She's certainly in the top group of the league. She can do it all. She's a great shot stopper. Her distribution with her feet is phenomenal. She demands the back line and is in charge of her defensive unit. We expect great things for her this year. We do. She's worked extremely hard, worked really hard in the weight room, worked really hard on her fitness, and she's playing at a super high level. And again, I think we have the best goalkeeper coach in the country in Coach Thompson, and he's done a great job with both of our goalkeepers. But Ashley is ready, I think, for that next step. Hopefully, it'll pan out that way. But she's ready and looks great.
And as for Sid, she came to Oxford as a forward, made that change to the back line, playing a wing for you guys a little bit. What did you see in her skill set, her demeanor, that allowed you guys to make that change and know she would have success? I don't know if you knew she was going to be that good in her first year at that position, but what did you see in her that allowed her to do that?
Yeah, she's tenacious, and she's the fastest player on our team, and it's really not that close. She's got great explosiveness. She's tenacious. is good both left and right foot, so we can play on either side. And we started in practice playing her against some of our better players, some of our better forwards, and she took to it right away. And she's good at possession. She's good at ball striking, so she can clear the danger pretty easily. Technically clean, but defensively she's tenacious. And again, we pretty much gave her the best player on whatever team we were playing to defend, their wide player, and she did a great job game in and game out. She's someone that we're really relying on back there. She's someone that we can kind of plug in and know what we're going to get from her every game. The thing I like most about Sid is she's probably consistent, right? Every game she brings it, works her butt off, and takes it as a challenge to beat the player that she's playing against the whole game. And her fitness level is fantastic, so she can get up and down. And like I said, she's our fastest player. So she had the task last year dealing with Allie Watt for Texas A&M, who obviously has graduated, is playing one of the fastest players maybe in the history of the SEC. And Sid did a really, really good job on her last season. So if you can defend Allie Watt, you can defend just about anybody in our league for sure.
Amen to that. With the season looking 2 weeks ahead, what does the ramp up look like for your bunch as you guys gear up for that first match?
Yeah, we've had a couple inter squads where we've kind of broke the teams up pretty evenly. It's been actually pretty fun. We've had a draft with the coaches, and the coaches of each coach team, Coach Thompson and coach the first week against Coach Beebe and Coach Jess, and now last week it was Jess and Julia Phillips, our student assistants, against Rob and Beebe. And they've drafted them and picked the teams and put the lineups out. It's been great. I've been able to sit up top and watch the games and really evaluate the players. And now we're going to start we have to start getting into putting groups together, putting top 11s together, or certainly, lines together, starting back fours and starting midfields and those kind of things to get ready, because that's the best we're going to get before we play a live team. So that's a big part of it. And then we got to get in all the, you set pieces and all the things that you need to get prepared for a game like atmosphere, because that's what we're going to hit here in 2 weeks.
Are there mock drafts for these leagues?
It was, we honest to God, we had to put them on the clock, because otherwise I think it would have taken Rob 10 minutes to make a pick. So we only got 2 minutes in between, and we had a pick who got first pick and who got second pick. We did a little snake-like draft, and no, it was high drama. It was very enjoyable for me as I got to sit back and watch them stress about who they were going to pick and where they're going to put them.
It is the biggest fantasy football draft weekend of the year, so it's all correlating. So I love seeing fantasy extend outside of just fantasy football and adult sports.
Yeah, my son Will was sitting on the couch yesterday picking his team, and I said, "Didn't you do that yesterday?" He goes, "No, Dad, this is a different league." So he's got 3 or 4 leagues he's playing in. So it is definitely fantasy football time.
League of Record picks on Monday, so I'm excited for the start of that as well. And we can finally be excited about an actual start date. 2 weeks away, Coach, and we'll be chatting a bunch before the start of the season. But thanks for sitting down with us again here today.
You got it, Seth. Thanks for having me.